And where this was in London. I've got some tape rolling right now, so I want to get a couple of video clips real quick. This is a Reviewer magazine. We're here with Maurice Tidy, a hair design icon from London, England, and he's talking about he was originally in school with this is William Williams and Angela Picard back there, and Maurice Tidy is originally from London, and he worked with Vidal Sassoon, or works with Vidal Sassoon still. And you were saying you went to school with Jimmy Page when you were younger?
As a kid.
As a kid? What was he like in school? Was he...
I really know him that well at that time. Little, but not that much.
He wasn't voted most likely to succeed or anything like that?
No.
It's so American.
I know that is kind of an American thing. That looks like something they do in high school yearbooks here in the USA. But
English schools are very different than American schools.
Yeah. You were saying we were having some fish tacos over at Rosie O'Grady's bar, and you were saying that back in England when you were a youngster, back in I guess in the 50s,
right.
you wanted to originally be in architecture. You wanted to be an architect, but you were discouraged from that because it was sort of a political environment.
Yeah, it was more of a social, political value, which is typical English in many ways at that time.
And where did you grow up exactly?
I grew up in a town called Epsom.
Okay.
Downs. Like you have the Kentucky Derby here?
Louisville, Kentucky?
Right. Well, my hometown is where it all started, which is Epsom Downs.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's why the Queen of England visited the Kentucky Derby, because of that connection.
Well, not only that, she's a major racehorse.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, oh yeah, that's all part of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was a political environment thing, and you were apparently, not connected to the upper classes where you would be an architecture candidate at that time. Okay, that was back in the 50s. Has it changed much now? Would it be easier for somebody from that community?
Maybe a little bit easier now.
Okay.
To what extent, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I wouldn't bet it's that much easier.
And we were talking. You were mentioning you had an anecdote, and there was so much noise at Rosie O'Grady's I couldn't hear all of it. If you'd be so kind as to repeat it, you were saying something about how you were offered an internship, and your parents got you in there, but that was after you told them you wanted to be you wanted to be an architectural intern, but then or what was it?
Well, actually,
apprentice.
what I did is I ended up working in a salon.
Okay.
Through the headmaster of my school. He introduced me to somebody in my hometown, which he tried to push me totally to the male side of hairdressing. And I really felt like I wanted to go more towards the female side of it at that time. One was because men's haircuts were 3 haircuts and that was it,
Right. Women are more. They spend more money on hair. It's more money.
Well, it was more expressive.
Fun.
There was a lot more expressive values about it. And so when I joined and went out to London through a youth employment agency, I ended up getting the job with Vidal. And there was only 8 people in the company, and it's 4 flights up. I'm serious. The elevator was half the size of that table.
Vidal Sassoon. This was, what year was this?
1956.
Okay, so 56, and Vidal Sassoon was...
Nobody knew who he was.
He was like in his early 20s, or?
He was... he would have been about 27.
Okay. And he just took a liking to you right away?
He took me on as an apprentice.
Okay.
So I started working with everybody that was in that particular salon. But the type of work that was done was nothing like what people know us for. It was more of, I would say, the old traditional type of work. You set hair, you pin coat hair, you sprayed it, and if you didn't stay a week, you were in trouble.
It was like a coiffure.
Oh yeah, more.
Yeah, definitely a coiffure.
Right. And it wasn't till after that salon we opened another one downtown, further down, and that's when everything started to change. How
did it change?
Change, actually, a lot of it was. Some of it was by mistake. Some of it was out of male hairdressing. Mixing was male and female, so it was actually more or less like unisexual in some ways.
Oh, you mean it was segregated before that?
Oh yeah, at one time, sure.
Huh.
I mean, like the salon I first started on, I went upstairs was the women and downstairs was men, and that was it. You know, nobody even crossed the pathways.
You know, actually, dear, it wasn't that much different in the United States of America because there were barbershops and there were salons for women. So it would be the same kind of thing, but the segregation was under one person. Yeah.
Okay.
And so what happened, it was in, I don't know, maybe... Well, I was still in part of that world, more of the old traditional type of work. That's when I started working for Vogue.
Vogue?
Well, I started working for Vogue when I was 17.
The magazine? Okay.
And I worked for a magazine called Queen, which is now Harper's Queen. And then I started working for Elle
magazine? Wow.
And all those magazines too.
And in the capacity of a hairstylist on photo shoots?
On photo shoots.
Nice. Who are some of the big names of photographers you work with?
Terence Donovan.
Who?
Terence Donovan, Norman Parkinson, Avedon, Penn,
Avedon.
Stravinsky. I could go on and on with that one. Duffy. David Montgomery. But at that time, there was really three models that were very well known. It was Grace Coddington, Celia Hammond, and Jean Shrimpton. And I was working with all three of them, which is actually how I ended up in Paris with them too.
I really enjoy Avedon's work as kind of a traveling photolog, sort of high fashion photojournalist. Do you have any memories of working with Avedon, or like an anecdote you could tell us? What was something interesting you experienced working with Avedon or seeing him in action?
Avedon's style was very different than most. I mean, when he did a lot of the photographs that he did, especially in studio, he tended to wash the background. And what I mean by that, his assistant would take like the flash umbrellas and things like that, and as he took the photographs, he would actually wash across the actual picture sometimes. Then his understanding of lighting is absolutely phenomenal. But David and Terence, David Bailey, Terence and Duffy and Norman Parkinson were very different type of photographers. And that's where I really started off with, was working with those 3 or 4 people. My first lecture I did when I was 17 in my hometown. Vidal was there, my mother and my father were there. And my model was Grace Coddington. Grace at that time was one of the 3 top models in England. She now is the artistic director of Condé Nast in New York at Vogue.
Condé Nast.
Right. And
great publishing company.
But it was all at the same time. That's when the Beatles and the Stones and Tom Jones and all those people were coming up, and they were all in London, hanging out at the same bars and everything else. And Cilla Black, who was like it was known as the 5th Beatle. That's when I started, because I was doing her hair at the salon, but all the other guys I actually did outside the salon. And some of them I met through photo shoots.
And in your capacity as a photography hairstylist,
more or less working freelance. Not so much freelance, but working as a hairdresser on photo shoots.
And would you more than just work with them? Would you party with them? Would you hang out with them?
I used to hang out with them too. Oh yeah, because everybody used to hang out at the same time. That's when Mary Quant, the designer, and people like that, Jimmy Wedge, were all part of that, and he was the one that worked on 2001 with the hats and all that type of stuff, and Hardy Ames.
Okay.
There was people who were behind all that type of design.
What was John Lennon like? I mean, here in America.
Real nice. I mean, from what I knew about him, and I met him mostly in the studio, and as just about all of them at the same time. George I met through, as I said, through Patty Boyd, who happened to be a friend of my girlfriend at that time. So you know, it was part of a lifestyle that happened.
So when you came in and you were doing their hair, this was after the The Ed Sullivan Show and the whole Beatles. It was before?
Yeah.
Did you give them their trademark mop top, their Beatles haircut?
The original one was done in Germany.
Okay, when they were in...
When they were on a tour over in Germany.
Yeah.
But I did it a few times after that.
So you gave them the mop top, huh? One time. Huh. Really? Because that was so groundbreaking. That was part of the whole revolution. That was one of the things that really, I mean, it made him indicative of this new age, and it sort of was
fitted in with what was happening. So that if people look at the Sassoon type of work, heavy bangs and short sides and that type of balance, it was very similar to what they were actually wearing too.
Huh.
So there was that joining at the same point. That's one of the things, even when I teach right now, there's that male and female side of it, which actually do join together once you see them. And if people look at a lot of the way men wear their hair now, it's very similar to the way they wore it at that time, especially within the fashion side of it.
The way men do, or the way young people do?
Too.
Okay,
I
mean, well, when I say
if you look at the Stones, if you look at all the other groups, they had the shag type of look, the type of feel. That all came out of that same principle. The shag haircut was basically originally a bob, which is actually reversed, which is, the bob is shorter at the back and longer in the front. If you turn it upside down and put it the shorter part in the front and the longer part in the back, you actually land up with a shag, which is actually how it landed up being called that name.
Okay, and that became popular in the mid or late 60s?
In the late 60s.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing back then. That's what really, in America at least, was, I mean, it pissed people off. the hairstyles of these kids are what really got the establishment up in arms. Is they would dare to wear their hair in such a countercultural way.
Right.
And do you see anything about hair or fashion today that is revolutionary, that is maybe in any way kind of a throwback to that, or reminiscent of that?
If you look at some of the styles that now, and you really truly look at them, they're really stemming out of that area. It wasn't until the beginning of the 70s when new wave punk rock started to come in.
Just stepping out of it, you mean?
What stepped out of that wasn't so much the looks and the cuts, it was the color. People started coloring their hair, they started changing the tonal values, they started being a little bit more funkier and a lot more avant-garde.
Okay.
So it changed that whole basis. And really, if you look at all that whole level and you really follow it through, you can actually even see how, right even now, with some of the people that are out there rocking and rolling and putting out what they're doing.
Yeah.
Even if you look at the designers like Galliano and McQueen and people like that, there's that same feeling that came out of that 70s feeling.
Yeah, because like Dave Grohl and a lot of the big names out there in the rock scene, they look like they're still in the 60s, late 60s.
In some ways, yeah. And they are. It's still carried over on that whole point. And the main thing is, now you've got some of them now, they're even more outrageous purely because of their presentation, not so much as far as the hair. But
so now you're in Charleston, South Carolina.
Now I live in Charleston, South Carolina.
And you like it, I assume, obviously.
I like it. It's nice because it's, in a strange way, I moved to the States in 1968, and this is the first time since then I've really, I suppose in a way, lived with some strong history. And Charleston has a lot of that, as far as architecture, as far as streets, as far as gardens, as far as churches, as far as its lifestyle. And it reminds me a little bit of the beginning of the 60s in England.
Oh, really?
Right. I mean, there are areas.
Because of history?
Partly that, and because of the architecture and some of the lifestyle factors about it.
Okay, but you were saying it reminded you a lot of London because it's also very political? And is that because of the class structures?
Oh yeah, very much so.
And that's the South, probably.
Exactly. It's
Southern influence.
Right.
And a lot about the South was brought over from England, and a lot of it,
So
the South is very English traditional.
You got a mixture of French-English attitude there.
Yeah.
I would say more English.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the oldest parts around some of the areas in Charleston, there are areas, a few of the places there, I could put you on a plane with blindfolders up and drop you off in London. You still swear blind you were in Charleston.
But you were saying earlier, if I could have you recount that story. A friend of yours who was a surgeon,
right?
Apparently a very talented surgeon from New York City.
Extremely talented.
Working for a major hospital up there. Bought a home in Charleston. Probably not a cheap home.
No, we're talking about $3 or $4 million.
And these people in Charleston were saying, he was saying, you know, well, no,
I
but
bought a home and I bought a house and I'm going to become a Charlestonian. And they looked at him and said, no, that'll never happen.
Were they serious?
Oh yeah, they were dead serious.
Were they saying that were they being facetious? I mean, were they saying, oh no?
Oh no, it's just part of that tradition.
That just seems really mean. I mean, that seems really cruel.
Yeah, but if you understand the culture, I grew up with in England.
It's just being honest, I guess, huh?
Oh, exactly. I mean, to them, if you're not from Charleston, you can't
buy your way in.
You can't buy your way in.
You're
Charlestonian.
Okay.
You're born and bred as a Southern Charleston person.
I got it. Okay.
All right, and that's. I mean,
that's class. I mean, either you're born with it or you're not.
Exactly.
And so when you were a kid and you wanted to be an architectural student, you wanted to go into architecture. It was the same thing because you were apparently were your parents working class or were they?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what point did you realize that just was not going to happen? Your dream would not be fulfilled because you were not born into the right social class. Were you bummed out? Was it traumatic for you?
No, because because of my age. I was still very young.
How young?
All right, I started at 14. Studying when everything else on that level.
Yeah.
And that's when I switched at the same time to make a bit of a living. I was actually brought over by my headmaster.
Headmaster of the school?
At my school.
That'd be like the principal.
He was like the principal.
Okay.
And he introduced me to a guy called San Sebastian.
Okay, so he helped you out.
He introduced me to the.
Okay. San Sebastian.
Maybe you should try that. But it wasn't until I went and started working in London with Vidal.
Okay.
That totally changed my life.
And how old were you when that happened?
15.
Okay. So at 14 you realized you couldn't be an architect like you wanted. And then a year later you were working with Vidal Sassoon, who was an up-and-coming personality at the time. And then shortly after that your headmaster, or was that before your headmaster?
Before I met Vidal.
Okay, so through your headmaster you got in touch with Vidal.
So from that point I became with Vidal. And to me in many ways it was just pure destiny.
Okay.
It just happened. Everything happened from that point out.
Yeah, it's like luck, you know. You can beat talent, but you can't beat luck. No. Well, I guess William Williams is gonna trim your beard here in a little bit.
For me.
And
if he has another beard, maybe we better not.
Well, you can't trim mine. Mine's already really.
Mine's way too long.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey there.
This is William Williams, folks.
That's what you're talking now.
The guy's so cool they named him twice. Where'd he go?
You went outside.
Okay.